Hi friends, Nathan here, and this week I challenged myself to learn cascading harp harmonics in 2 days, and I'm gonna show you how I did it. Now, as a classical guitarist, I never even attempted this technique until this week. You know I love using harmonics in my arrangements, but something about harp harmonics just intimidated me, so I never even attempted to learn them. But it's been looming over me for years, and making these videos for you guys has motivated me to push myself even further. So I decided enough was enough, no more excuses. I'm gonna learn this technique once and for all. I first heard harp harmonics listening to Tommy Emmanuel back in high school, and it's one of those techniques that when you're listening to it, it's really hard to tell exactly what the guitarist is doing to make that specific sound. Now, the harp harmonic technique is produced by alternating back and forth through an arpeggio pattern between harmonics, typically artificial harmonics, and natural notes, meaning normal, non-harmonic notes. Alternating quickly between the two as you arpeggiate through the strings causes the harmonics and natural notes to blend together, creating this really cool cascading waterfall harp-like sound, thus the name. Now you can also throw in hammer-ons and pull-offs to extend the arpeggio and double down on that harp-like effect. Once I decided on challenging myself to learn harp harmonics in 2 days, the first thing I did was search YouTube to see if there were any videos of Tommy Emmanuel teaching it himself. Now sure enough, I found a fantastic video of him teaching it on Guitar World's YouTube channel. One of the first examples he gave involved a pretty complex chord shape because he's Tommy and he's a beast. But I decided to simplify that because I didn't want to have to think about my left hand at all. I knew that if I stood a chance to learn this technique in 2 days, I needed to keep things as simple as possible at first to make as few mistakes as possible. So I just played a bar at the 7th fret and followed his right hand pattern. Start with the artificial harmonic, touching the string directly 12 frets above with your I finger and plucking with your thumb on the 6th string. Your A finger plays the 3rd string, then harmonic again on the 5th string. A finger plays the 2nd string, harmonic on the 4th string. A finger plays the 1st string, 3rd string harmonic, 1st string again, then we come back down, 4th string harmonic, 2nd string, 5th string, 3rd string, 6th string. The biggest temptation I had here was to try to speed up right away. You don't get that really cool cascading effect until you start rolling through the notes pretty quickly, and I wanted the instant gratification of hearing that effect right away. But if you watched my How to Practice Perfectly video, you know that the faster we go and the more mistakes we make in the early stages of learning something new, the more time we have to spend in the long run undoing that damage we've done. So I used a metronome religiously throughout this entire process, as should you, not only to help me gradually speed up, but to hold me accountable and force me to play slow, especially during these early stages. So I found that playing every note on the beat at a tempo of 100 BPM was a good tempo for me to focus on my technique and not make any mistakes from the very beginning. But it's important that you find that threshold for yourself. Now, I have to say that I did come at this technique with a little bit of an advantage because I have a lot of experience with artificial harmonics, but I've always plucked them with my A finger, so it was really awkward for me at first learning how to play these with my thumb. If your I finger and your thumb are too close to each other when you pluck, that harmonic is gonna sound really dull. So you have to create some distance between them from a combination of reaching out with your I finger and pulling back with your thumb. I feel like that separation comes more naturally when plucking with the A finger instead, so it definitely took some getting used to with the thumb. If my thumb was too close, the harmonic tone was terrible, and if it was pulled back too far, I would get all this extra tension in my palm and it would start cramping up. But over time and with experimentation, I found that sweet spot that had a perfect balance of tone and comfort. In his lesson, Tommy Emmanuel talks about the importance of balancing the volume between the harmonics and natural notes in this technique, because the harp-like effect doesn't really work unless the notes blend together seamlessly at an equal volume. Now, as I was practicing at first, I felt like this wasn't really a struggle for me. I thought that I naturally was able to strike a pretty good balance between the two. So, I was feeling pretty good about myself and decided it was time to show the world how awesome I was by posting a progress video to my Instagram story. Sure enough, as I listened back to the video, I realized that my balance was in fact terrible. My natural notes were completely overpowering the harmonics, and this is super important, guys. I was listening specifically for balance as I was practicing, and I still couldn't hear what was really going on. This is why it's so important to record yourselves regularly and listen back and analyze what's working and what's not in your playing. Listening to a recording is the only way to get a complete, accurate, and unbiased representation of your playing. You are just too distracted to truly listen while you're playing. So a trick I used to fix this balance issue was to exaggerate the opposite of what I was doing naturally. My harmonics were too quiet, so I focused on playing them really loudly. My natural notes were too loud, so I focused on playing them really quietly. Doing this for a while canceled out my natural tendencies and helped everything meet in the middle volume-wise once I stopped intentionally exaggerating that contrast. After about an hour of dialing in all those technical issues and gradually speeding up that first exercise, I decided that the next natural progression would be to practice a chord that spanned across several frets, because then I would have to practice moving my right hand around throughout the arpeggio to grab those different harmonics, because artificial harmonics occur 12 frets above wherever your left hand is fretting. I found this amazing resource by Ted Green that gives you tons of left hand positions that outline chords and scales for harp harmonics. Now, all the resources I used to learn this technique, by the way, I've linked down in the description. Here, I picked a shape that outlined part of a B minor scale when played in harp harmonics. You make a 4-string bar at the 2nd fret, and your 3rd finger plays the 4th fret of the A string, 4th finger plays 4th fret of the G string, and 2nd finger plays 3rd fret of the B string. Now, for our right hand pattern, we're starting with the A finger on the G string, harmonic on the A string at the 16th fret, right? Because that's 12 frets above the 4th fret here. Then A finger on the B string. Now for the harmonic on the D string, I have to move over 2 frets to the 14th fret because we're only on the 2nd fret here. Then we're gonna play A finger on the high E string, then back down, harmonic on the D string, B string, harmonic on the A string, G string. The challenge here obviously is quickly and accurately shifting the right hand back and forth to hit those harmonics at their appropriate frets. So to focus on the precision of my movements, I slowed the metronome back down to 100 BPM. I was also very careful to make sure that my I finger landed directly above the fret at each shift, because any slight miscalculation to the left or right here means the harmonic's not gonna ring out clearly. An unexpected issue that showed up for me here was not lifting my I finger off the string quickly enough after plucking the harmonic. So keeping your I finger on the string is gonna keep the string from vibrating freely, and it dampens the harmonic. So make sure you practice slowly enough that you can focus on lifting the I finger off the string immediately after it's plucked with the thumb. I followed the same process with this exercise, gradually speeding it up with the metronome. Once I got it up to 2 notes per beat at 170 BPM, I decided it was time to move on. So the next step was to add hammer-ons and pull-offs. So in his video, Tommy teaches this cool little lick that goes like this. So after the harmonic on the 4th string, you're going to play the 1st string, hammer on to the 7th fret, harmonic on the third string, play the first string again, but pull off back into the bar. Then you're gonna do a harmonic again on the fourth string. Then you're gonna play the second string at the 7th fret and pull off into the bar, right? And those are played with a triplet rhythm. So triplet, triplet, triplet. Despite sounding the flashiest, I was actually able to get this step up to speed a lot faster than the others, partly because of the groundwork that I laid with the others. I was starting to get really comfortable with the right hand technique at this point, but also those hammer-ons and pull-offs take away some of the workload from your right hand. That being said, there were times here and throughout the other steps where when I was making progress and gradually speeding things up, I would suddenly hit a wall and my brain and fingers would act like they had no clue what I was doing. This sometimes happens when you're intensely focused on learning something new and your brain is having to process so much new information at one time. When this happens, it's good to work on something different for a little bit or put the guitar down for a while. Rest, reset, clear your head. Then when you come back to it later, even if just after a few minutes, that confusion is usually gone. I worked this exercise up to 200 BPM and decided to call it a day. I had logged a total of 4 hours on the technique and felt good about my progress for the day. Day 2 was straightforward. It was all about piecing together everything I had worked on from day 1 into an actual piece of music. So I decided to work on a beautiful harp harmonic section from Chet Atkins' arrangement of Somewhere Over the Rainbow from his album Chet Atkins Goes to the Movies. Tommy mentioned it in his lesson, and it's what you heard me play at the beginning of this video. As I warmed up by reviewing day 1's exercises, everything felt more at ease. I find that generally after sleep, my mind has a chance to connect all the dots with a new technique or a new concept, and things just start to sink in. So as I started working through this Chet Atkins example, I really felt the fruits of my labor from day 1 paying off. Each exercise I chose added complexity gradually and introduced new elements of the technique one by one, so putting it all together in this musical example didn't really feel like some giant leap. In fact, there were really no new challenges at all. It was just a matter of memorizing each hand position and practicing transitioning between them. I started working through the tune methodically, measure by measure, with my primary focus being memorizing the notes and hand positions as quickly as possible so I could watch my hands and focus on execution and technique rather than staring at the page. Once it was memorized, I just spent the rest of the day gradually speeding it up. Quick disclaimer, if you want to learn this arrangement yourself, I couldn't find what looked like an official version of the sheet music or tabs, and I don't know if the version that I used was properly licensed, so I don't want to promote that by providing a link, but you're welcome to find it yourself with a quick Google search. So I spent roughly 8 hours across 2 days learning this technique to the point where I could play it in a piece of music at a reasonable tempo. And I'm really happy with what I was able to accomplish in 2 days here. And if you want to learn harp harmonics yourself, I highly recommend that you follow the exact same approach that I took in this video, but stretch it out across a week or two at least. Give yourself time for these things to sink in and don't feel like you need to rush it. It was a fun challenge for me, but 8 hours is not enough time to really master something. I want to continue cleaning up and refining the technique and practicing it in different musical contexts, and I really want to start learning how to incorporate harp harmonics in my own arrangements in creative ways. That was really kind of my end goal for taking this on in the first place. So if you would like a follow-up video where I show you how to use harp harmonics in your arrangements, leave a like on this video and let me know in the comments. Now, if you're thinking, incorporating harp harmonics in my arrangements would be cool, but I don't even know where to begin with making my own guitar arrangements in the first place, then you need to take my free course, Fretboard Freedom. In the course, I teach you how to find and play chords anywhere on the fretboard. So if you're playing a melody that's taking you all over the neck and you need to play chords with it, you don't have to memorize hundreds of different chord shapes if you know how to build chords on the fly anywhere on the fretboard. If I could only teach you one concept about arranging, it would be this, and that's why I wanted to make it available for everybody. So go to my website, beyondtheguitar.com, or follow the link in the description below for free access to the course. But thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button to let me know and to help more people see it. Make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell on so you never miss future videos. But as always, much love, and I'll see you in the next one.
Let's play a game of